In a forgotten corner of the world, where the sun rose over cracked fields and the wind carried the scent of dust and hope, there lived a boy named Aarav. He was born into poverty, a kind of poverty that clung not only to the skin but to the soul. His father was a farmer who had long stopped smiling, and his mother sold vegetables by the roadside, counting every coin as if it were gold. Aarav's home had walls made of mud and a roof patched with old tin sheets. Yet inside that tiny house, his mother's voice filled the air with love, and his father's silence with strength. Every morning, before the sun could touch the village, Aarav would run barefoot through the dusty path, carrying a torn school bag that had seen better days. The other children laughed at his faded clothes, but his eyes, those eyes carried dreams brighter than the morning sun. At night, when darkness swallowed the village, he would sit near a dim lantern, studying torn pages of discarded books. He couldn't afford new ones, so he collected whatever others threw away. His mother would sometimes say, "Aarav, rest for a while. You're just a child," but Aarav would smile and reply, "Ma, I'll rest when I can give you a home where you never have to worry again." One evening, as Aarav walked home from school, he saw a group of men gathered near a car, the only car in the village. A well-dressed man stepped out, confident, smiling, respected. Aarav overheard the people whispering, "He's Raghav Singh. He once lived here, but now he owns companies in the city." Aarav stared at the man as if looking at a miracle. He thought, if he was once like us, how did he change his life? That night, Aarav couldn't sleep. His heart whispered, if one man can rise from this soil, so can I. Years passed. Aarav grew, not in comfort, but in courage. He began working after school, cleaning tea stalls, carrying sacks in the market, doing whatever it took to earn a few coins. One evening, while cleaning a shop, he noticed an old computer lying in the corner, dusty, unused. He asked the shopkeeper, "Sir, can I learn to use this when the shop closes?" The man laughed. You don't even have shoes, and you want to learn computers?" But Aarav didn't give up. Every night, after work, he wiped the dust off that computer and taught himself whatever he could from offline games and text documents. He didn't have the internet. He didn't have guidance. All he had was hunger. Aarav spent months typing, learning, failing, and trying again. He made mistakes that no teacher could correct, yet every failure became his silent mentor. He realized one truth early: you don't need permission to grow, you just need persistence. One night, he found a broken USB drive in the market trash. Inside it were offline tutorials about basic coding. That day changed everything. He started creating small programs. He didn't even know they had names like apps or tools. He just called them solutions. A program to calculate daily wages for his mother. A tool to record loans for his father's farming group. His mind was learning what schools never taught: the power of creation. Months later, he traveled to the nearest city to showcase his small project in a youth competition. He wore his only shirt, ironed with care and pride. He stood in front of judges who barely looked at him. They saw a village boy, not a visionary. He lost that day, but he gained something greater: belief. Because while others mocked, one judge quietly said, "You have something rare: hunger. Don't lose it." Aarav returned home disappointed but determined. He worked harder, saved every rupee, and one day bought a second-hand smartphone. Through that small screen, he discovered the world. YouTube tutorials, free courses, online mentors. Doors opened one click at a time. He would spend sleepless nights learning marketing, technology, design. His friends said he was wasting time, but Aarav whispered it to himself every night. One day I'll build something that will change lives, not just mine. Years passed. Aarav created his first startup idea, a digital platform that helped rural farmers sell their crops directly to city buyers. It was simple, honest, powerful. He believed it could change everything for his people. He went to investors, in worn-out shoes but with burning conviction. They rejected him. One said, "Your idea is too small." Another laughed, "Come back when you have a degree." Aarav walked out with tears in his eyes but fire in his heart. He thought of his mother's wrinkled hands, his father's silent struggle, his village children who studied under streetlights, and whispered, "If they can't see my value, I'll create my own." He worked as a delivery boy during the day and coded at night. Days blurred into months. Failures became familiar companions. But one morning, something extraordinary happened. His app got noticed. A popular YouTuber featured it in a video titled, "A Village Boy's Idea That Can Change Rural India." Within days, thousands downloaded it. Farmers began using it. His dream, once mocked, was now blooming. Investors called him. Journalists wrote about him. And the boy who once begged for opportunities was now creating them. Aarav launched his company officially, KrishiLink. It grew beyond what he had imagined. He didn't just earn money, he earned respect. The same villagers who once pitied him now spoke his name with pride. His story spread across the nation, a symbol of what determination can do when destiny stands in your way. But success didn't change Aarav. It deepened him. He remembered the boy who had no shoes and no internet. So, he started a foundation that provided digital education to children in rural areas. He went from village to village, giving speeches, donating computers, and teaching one simple lesson. You are not poor when you have dreams. You are poor only when you stop believing. Years later, Aarav stood on a grand stage, wearing a suit for the first time, not for vanity, but for victory. He looked into the cameras and said, "I was born with nothing, but I refused to stay that way. Poverty was my teacher, pain was my path, but purpose was my power." The audience rose in applause. Some wiped tears, and among them his old schoolteacher, now aged, whispered, "That boy was never ordinary. He just needed the world to notice." After the speech, Aarav visited his village again. The roads were paved now. The children wore clean uniforms. He walked past his old mud house, now rebuilt into a small library. Inside, on a wall, hung a photo, a younger Aarav with a note written underneath. Dreams don't belong to the rich. They belong to the relentless. Aarav smiled. He turned around and saw a group of kids running toward him. One boy asked, "Sir, how did you become so successful?" Aarav knelt down, placed a hand on the boy's shoulder, and said, "Because I never believed I was poor. I believed I was powerful, even when I had nothing." He stood beneath the same sky that once watched him struggle and whispered, "Thank you, life. You didn't give me comfort. You gave me courage." As he walked away, the wind carried his words across the fields. A message for anyone who felt trapped by their circumstances. Your poverty is not your prison. It's your preparation. You were born to rise, and when you do, lift others with you. Narrator, gentle, inspiring tone. Aarav's story reminds us, dreams don't come true because of luck. They come true because of belief, discipline, and the refusal to give up. No one can define your worth unless you let them. The world may label you poor, but only you can decide whether to stay that way. Because in the end, power doesn't come from money. It comes from mindset. Aarav turned his poverty into power. What will you turn yours into?